Hey, how you doing? It's our talk radio version of the OMSR. There is more. Don't worry. I'm not going to be talking too long. Just so you know, we always try to let you know wherever possible. The clip order coming up so that you know what you're getting. So no attempt at bait and switch here, misleading titles. Just like to step in and let you know. So we're clear to some of the key highlights there to that final drive and how LSU gave the ball back. And then, you gotta love DABO SWINNEY there at the end. Interview with the lovely, what's her name, Janine. So, yeah, surprising LSU didn't run the ball at all. That amazing fourth down. And how LSU's D got every bit as beat up as Taj Boyd did in this game. And also, you'll hear like some interesting commentary under breath. This was the Peach Bowl, after all, and a lot of people are not thrilled with the rebranding of the bowl games. You know, it's still the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, right? Used to be the Chik-fil-A Peach Bowl. I guess that title was too wordy. It'd be nice if we could sort of bring back the actual titles of the bowls of yesteryear and keep the sponsor there, but it shouldn't. The sponsor should not take over the bowl. It's like the Capital One Bowl was the Citrus Bowl. Anywho, enjoy the highlights coming up. And then we do our longer show at the end, just so you know. It's not 15 minutes worth of highlights. Can't do that with SEC games or Pac-12. Alright, thanks for watching.
That ball sailed. They had what they wanted. Landry's wide open, and he's been told stay in bounds. And all of a sudden, this Clemson defense looking for their 8th 3-and-out in the game. But I think, knowing Les Miles, this is going to be a run play between the tackles. You got to think that if you're Clemson.
Nussberger has hit only 5 of his last 13 throws. He had Landry wide open on the last one. And he wants to throw again. Has it batted down. Holy cow, Malachi Goodman, who has 3.5 sacks in a brilliant game, gets a block. And as it turns out, Clemson does not have to use a single timeout in that possession as LSU threw it 3 times in a row.
Which is very unusual, but once again, it's the defensive front for Clemson. I know it was good if he comes out in Mingo. Now you're in a position where if I'm John Chavis, I'm bringing some kind of pressure. I may play zone behind it, so if I'm Clemson, right now there are only 6 guys that can help in pass protection with the 5 offensive linemen and the running back of McDowell. Don't be surprised if LSU tries to free up their 6th man here.
4th and 16. Here comes the pressure on the blitz. Down. Reed was there on a fly, hung in there all night long. Got to be one of the great games of his career. Pressure coming again to the sideline, and it's Hopkins again. Holy cow, what a game these 2 guys are having.
Well, and Farrell Simon is playing off like they're trying to stop a touchdown. That's just way too much air. With
Azaro for the win.
Take that, SEC!
The Clemson Tigers have waited an entire year to make up for that bowl humiliation they suffered a season ago against West Virginia. Tonight, they made up for it and then some.
That's the place to win. That 4th and long, that's one of those plays that makes you a top 10 team.
You bet. LSU came out at the start of the game, hit Clemson in the mouth. But Taj Boyd and DeAndre Hopkins said, hey, we can take it.
We have seen enough. Now the body English didn't work there, did it, for Les Miles. But just offensively, never got anything going.
Let's go to Janine Edwards.
Hey guys, a first for me just now. I have never had a head coach pick me up in the air and hug me like that. What's going through your mind right now?
Man, I'm just so excited for our team, our program. It's been 31 years since we won 11 ball games at Clemson. It's been a steady progress. You know, and these guys, they fought every freaking play. They fought for every patch of grass. They overcame adversity. They played with a lot of love and toughness. They played with a desire to win, a confidence, a commitment that is uncommon. And I just am so proud of my football team, my staff, and it's just great to be a Clemson Tiger, and it's great to win the Chick-fil-A Bowl and take it, hopefully a top 10 finish back home and get ready for next year. So proud of our team.
You're emotional right now. What are you most emotional about?
Just to see these seniors finish the way they did, to see our team not quit. This is a national championship team. We grew up tonight. I've been telling them they're at the doorway of greatness. But sooner or later, you got to step through it. You got to take action. Tonight, man, they just hung in there and they grew up. We had injuries. You know, we're playing with a freshman tackle that hadn't really played all year. Sammy Watkins goes out. We turn the ball over, and they just keep playing. 4th and 16. My freaking quarterback mans up and makes plays. Just awesome. Go Tigers, baby.
Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere. Welcome to the One Man Sports Rant. Gen 2.0. I am your host, Will, the alternative ESPN, and every other network that we cover, Sports Thrill, specializing in college football and basketball and all of the other sporting events in their singular nature, such as they may occur. Why such an emphasis on the college sports? I was a linebacker and off guard at the collegiate level, however short-lived, blew up both my ankles, never was able to realize my sports prowess, walked on in both events, but I was a non-traditional student, so I sort of screwed up high school, got my act together, got my butt back into college, and so I had to go that route. And I still suffer from those ankles. But the point is, I did not utilize my, stay in school, by the way, high school-wise, sports abilities to the best of their abilities, because street ball wise, you know, I got a reputation still back where I was playing. So I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not you know, going through a midlife crisis either. It's the best of both, the maturity with still the physical ability and speed to understand it all, I guess. Alright, so you heard from Accept, the original balls to the wall. It's going to be able to lead into for the rest of college football. By the way, this is the shorty version. This is the post-review show. As introduced by our Pi Kappa Alpha House Sweethearts, U of U chapter, Alpha Tau, giving you props. Alright, so what do I mean by all this? You know, if you saw on the timestamp this video being 10 to 11 minutes thereabouts, this is the post-review show, which is what I mean by those graphics that I included. Much like when you go to a live theater stage show and it's kind of sucking, people with class, you don't walk out on it until intermission. So I understand if I'm talking to only 2 or 5 people, because this show may not be your cup of tea, but it is the post-review. You already saw all the clips, you know, to the sporting event that we were discussing about, and I'm not going to get into it more specifically, because again, this is the baseline show, and I'll get into the legalities as to why that is in a moment. I did used to run a law firm, so to those of you still listening, stick around because you'll learn something about the particulars of YouTube. But for the shows, you know, 15 minutes or longer, it's a totally different intro than what I'm doing right now. All right. So why bother doing a show, you may ask? Because the ship has sailed in the sense of just trying to piggyback on somebody else's network and going beyond the 5 to 7 minute mark and just trying to put that up as not necessarily your own, but obviously from somebody else. You try to give them credit on YouTube. I'm sure you may have seen this several times. Your longer clips, say like beyond the 4 minute mark, where all they're showing is like the channel immediately. That does not cover the legalities of it. What are the legalities I'm discussing? It's a little thing called the DCMA, the Digital Copyright Millennium Act. And the key tenets that we adhere to on the OMSR are, as they were hashed out through WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization: fair use standard, minimal use, derivatives, and no money exchanged in hands. Of course, that last one's a given, but it's also important. But it's a given here because, as you can see, the OMSR is a pro bono production. We adhere strictly to that. And on that note, as well, all images you see on the OMSR, not procured or produced, 2-minute warning, so I'll go over on time, by the OMSR, were obtained through the public domain. So anybody out there saying, hey, Will, you're kind of using an image that we don't necessarily approve of, fine. Watch my dust. I'll take it down. Excuse me. Readjust it. The only sucky thing about that is you'll lose all the hits when you go to re-upload the same thing, plus the interest wanes on that particular event. But that's not important as opposed to what I just said. Alright. And on that note, this show is copyrighted to the OMSR. Brief video highlights courtesy to the networks already discussed through Will, the Alternative Sports Pro. The OMSR does not own these video highlights, but does own all the other original content and the overall concept herein, thereof, therefore, most rights reserved. Alright, so on that note, the 2-minute warning, we go back to our musical lead into Accept. The original, to the nth degree, balls to the wall. Perfect theme music for closing out college football. You got to play balls to the wall to get a winning record, to get to a better bowl, or BCS consideration. Alright, so pay attention to the end graphic at the end of the show. VAC chart from the state of California DMV. They will throw the book at you. Worst state in the union, or best, toughest, whatever you want to call it. You get a DUI. You can pause it, freeze frame it, X amount of drinks, your body type, no X amount of activity. Alright, thanks for watching. Later days, and only a few more college football plays.